Okay, so a lot of you might have seen this book already and had a really good read through it, but I wanted to go through this in a little bit more detail just so that you're ready for any social events that do come up whilst you're on program or on plan. Obviously, we're going to come up against things like birthdays, Christmas, New Year, weddings, nights out in general. There's going to be loads of things that come up that we need to navigate and be able to still enjoy ourselves, but at the same time, keep on plan as much as we can so that we don't sabotage our progress. So I'm just going to scroll through this and go through this with you in a bit more detail. And then if you've got any questions at the end, once you've watched this, you can just leave any sorts of comments on this and I will get back to you in a bit more detail. So let's get going. So I'm going to move this slightly out the way. So let's pop that down there. Okay, so a guide to navigating social events whilst you're on a diet plan. One of the things that set most people back when they're on a diet is learning how to navigate weekends and social events, right? This is very normal. It's where, if you've come to me, you've probably been in a position before where you found yourself doing really well during the week, Monday to Friday, you're super motivated, everything's good, starts to taper off towards the end of the week, weekend kicks in, and then you go all out. It's beers, wine, takeaways, chocolate, everything that comes up. And then all of a sudden you're either worse off or in the same position than you were at the beginning after all the hard work that you put in. And we just don't want you to keep putting in loads of hard work and not seeing like the rewards for that hard work because you're sabotaging yourself on a weekend. I am not saying don't go out on a weekend. What I am saying is that if you do go out on a weekend, make sure that you're going in there with a bit of a game plan so that you can come out the other end in a great position. All right, so I'm going to go through loads of strategies and things today that are going to help you stay on track. Now, you don't have to implement all of these, but obviously the ones that you find really beneficial for you and that work for you, I would go for those. So, let's move on. He says, for some reason, it's not moving. There we go. Okay, so high-calorie drinks. Making simple swaps with your drinks is by far the best way to be able to still enjoy yourself and keep track on your diet. Now, we've probably spoken about this if you've been on program for a little while, but swapping out things like the really heavy calorie drinks like your cocktails, especially things like pina coladas, which are full of like cream and all that kind of stuff, they can range anywhere between 200 to 400 calories and sometimes a little bit more. Now, if you have 400 calorie cocktails, you're taking in 1,000, 1,200 calories, which is a huge amount, and you're probably not going to stop there, right? You're probably going to have some food with it. You might be, I've gone out for food and had the cocktails with it. And all of a sudden, you're ranging into 2,000-3,000 calories, which is definitely setting you back. But you can still go out, enjoy yourself, have a few glasses of Prosecco at 70 calories each, or having a gin and slimline tonic, or a vodka and Diet Coke, which are 70, 80 calories at a time, not 400 calories at a time. It means you can have like 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 of them for the same as a pina colada. To me, it's a no-brainer. Of course, we love pina coladas. I get it. But when you're on a plan, you can still go out, enjoy yourself, and not set yourself back. All right? Food choices, exactly this. This is exactly the same. So imagine that you're going out all of the time, but every single time you're going out, you're having a starter, which is 400 calories. You're having a main, which is 800 calories, and a dessert, which is 600 calories. Again, you're taking in 1,800 calories. Whereas if you go in there and you have yourself like a nice meal, it can be healthy, it can be steak with, some potatoes, a nice lot of veg, and you might have a small dessert afterwards, right? You're ranging yourself around about 800 to 1,000 calories, right? Which is still quite a lot for a meal in general, but not ranging into that 2,000, 3,000 calories. Again, we can also start to look at strategies to save calories during the day or in the week leading up to any sorts of nights out, which I'm going to talk to you about soon too. So, don't sabotage yourself every weekend. That's exactly what I've been talking to you about. I'll move on from that one because we've already kind of hit on that one. Don't give in to peer pressure. A lot more difficult than we realise, right, is your friends and the people that you surround yourself with, right? Your friends are always going to be your friends, right? But if you're on a plan and they love you and they understand you, the chances are that your really good friends are going to get on board. But you might still have some very good friends that don't quite understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, through many, many reasons. Obviously, they want you to be doing the same as them so they don't feel guilty, or they don't want you to change your lifestyle because it would affect them. And these are all like normal things that happen. And we want to make sure that you go in there with a game plan and then you stick to the game plan. So when you're on the coaching, we will talk a little bit about what kind of night out you're going, what restaurant you're going to. We can look at the calories on the menu. We can give you loads of options so that when you go in there and you don't deviate from it, you're going in there, you're having the food that you've picked out, right? You're having the drinks that we've spoke about previously. You're still out with your friends, having a great time, eating, drinking, having a good laugh. But you're not taking in 4,000 calories. You're taking in maybe 1,200, right? That's going to immediately stop you from sabotaging yourself every week. That's what's going to happen there, is you're going to stop yourself going backwards, and then week in, week out, you're going to see progress. And that's what you're here for, right? Moving on. Utilizing high-intensity interval training on exercise for extra calories. Obviously, we know that most of the calorie saving that we do is through dieting. It's the easiest way to do it. Obviously, burning calories takes a little bit longer. You're having to put some serious graft in to burn calories. Like, for example, that pina colada, let's go back to it. 400 calories in there. That's 40 minutes on a cross trainer. 40 minutes for that one drink, right? And we can neck 3 of them in an hour, right? So it makes sense to put most of the emphasis on your food. But obviously, if we can then double up and burn calories by doing your 4 workouts a week, hitting your steps and stuff like that, that's when it's really all going to start to come together, and that's when you're going to make serious, fast progress. Again, that's what you're here for, right? And it's fast progress without restriction. Can you see where this is coming from now? It's without restriction. It's without starving yourself. It's without not going out. I'm not asking you to do hours and hours and hours in the gym every single day. This is just let's tidy things up, let's use strategies, and then let's get great results. Which moves me on to the next one here, putting calories in the bank. This can be done daily, it can be done weekly, but I'd recommend you do this weekly so you're not restricting yourself too much. But I'll give you 2 examples here. The first example is if your calories for weight loss are, let's say, 2,000, all right? Let's just put that down as a blanket amount is 2,000. And you know that you're going on a night out where you might be taking in 3,000 calories, right? Hopefully we've restricted that already. We already know that that's not the best. We don't have to do that to enjoy ourselves. But imagine you know that you've got something big coming up, or a weekend that's going to take you massively over your calories that you're kind of out of control of. If you can save yourself a couple of 100 calories Monday through Friday, there's 1,000, right? If you can then burn an extra 200 calories Monday through Friday, every single day, there's another 1,000. There's 2,000 calories that you've got to play with because you've burnt them off, right, as extra. It means that you can go into that weekend and have those extra calories, like 1,000 extra each day, without guilt, all right? And that's what we're looking to do too. You don't want to feel guilty when you've got social events, right? You want to make sure that you go into it thinking, I've earned this. Happy days, I can have this, I can enjoy myself, I've still got a game plan, I can still utilise it, and who knows, I might not even go over. And therefore, the hard work that I've put in has put me even further ahead. So it's not about restriction, it's not about punishment, it's about being clever at the beginning so that you've earned stuff on the back end of it. What we don't want you to do is not earn it, then go out there and go crazy, and then punish yourself the whole week, month, year after because you feel like you've messed up, right? We don't want you to be in that mindset. We want to get ahead of the game all the time so everything's been earned and we feel good and we're in control. Moving on. Treat meals and when to stop. This one should be very self-explanatory, right? It should be very easy to talk about. But having treat meals is fantastic when you're on a plan if you're being strict, right? But if we get your diet right and it's based around food that you actually like and enjoy, you shouldn't really need a treat meal, right? You should just be like, no, actually, I'm eating the food I like on a daily basis. I don't feel like I need this. The only time that you ever really need a treat meal, I think, is at the beginning of your process when you're trying to break old habits, right? Having something that you love there and a bit of a blowout from time to time is okay. Or if you're like massively on like a program where you're like cutting down for like 16 weeks and you're going all in, you're going hard, you might need something to break that cycle, all right? Just to kind of give you a refresh so that you can go hard again. But if you're just on a normal kind of weight loss diet, which is pretty steady, we shouldn't be needing them too much, all right? And then in regards to don't falling down at the final hurdle, this goes back to like your nights out, your social events and stuff like that, is at the end of the night, you've had a few beers, right? You've had a few drinks, a few glasses of wine. Don't be stopping off at McDonald's and having 30 chicken nuggets and 2 double cheeseburgers and some chips. Don't do that to yourself. You've just gone out and you've had the gin and tonics. instead of having the pina coladas. You've worked hard all week. Don't make that one slip up because you're a little bit intoxicated, a bit drunk, and you're making a bad decision, because it's going to mess with your head. You're going to be like, I was doing so well and I've messed it up, and that will mess with you. And I don't want you to be in that position either. So make sure that you're keeping away from those like 1,500 calorie meals, right? Most meals on a plan that I'm going to set you, depending on what your current weight is and your targets and stuff, are going to be around 3 to 4 to 500 calories maximum, right? So when we're taking in 1,500 calories, you've got to realize that's like three meals worth of calories, all right? And it's not going to leave you much leeway to have something else in your day if you want to stay on plan. Right? From time to time, like I said, it's not going to be the end of the world, but let's make sure it's planned, because if it's impromptu, there's a chance that it can mess with your mindset a little bit, and that's the thing that can set you back. You fall into a bit of a hole with it. You're like, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. You're either going to punish yourself, or you're not going to tell me. You're going to go into hiding. You're going to eventually just start to regress a little bit. So if you do fall into the trap, tell me. We'll work past it. We'll give you some tips to hopefully get on top of it nice and quickly, and so that it doesn't happen again. Don't go into hiding. That never works. But hopefully all these tips that I'm giving you right now should just allow you to kind of go into places with a strategy. Like, for example, let's look at Christmas as well. We know that there's like maximum, like really, if you think logically, like 5 days of Christmas, right? Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. We've also got New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, right? If you're the kind of person that likes to go out. Some people don't, so it's only 3 days. There's going to be some impromptu little nights out that might happen, or days out because it's Christmas, granted. But if we know that they're coming up, we can plan in advance for them, and that's what I'm saying. We know when Christmas is. It's the same every year. We can plan in advance for that, so you can enjoy the hell out of your Christmas Day. That's the one kind of area, really, I would say, with Christmas and maybe your birthday and things like that, is where these 1,500 calorie meals, they're all right. Don't stress out about 1 or 2 days. It's just as if this is happening every week on a Friday and Saturday, this is when it becomes an issue. But at Christmas, have your Christmas dinner, have your pigs in blankets, do all that. Have some Bucks Fizz, do whatever it is that you do. But just realise that this can't continue into a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks because it's Christmas. Or if it's happening every week because you go out on a Saturday night and you drink all these drinks every night, or on a Saturday night, and then you have the big takeaway on the night time, and then your hungover meal the next day. That's when it all starts to become an issue, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So I really hope that helps. A couple more things here is obviously not getting back on plan quickly enough. Letting things spiral out of control. Probably one of the worst things that does happen for a lot of people, and I've just touched on that, is don't let things drag into 2, 3, 4 weeks, that kind of stuff, right? If it happens, it happens. Jump back on the next day, right? Don't let things like get on top of your mindset. Like, if it's happened, it's happened. Speak to me. We'll talk it through. Job done. Move forward. We don't look at the past. We look forward, right? Because nothing's good. What's done is done, essentially. We just need to move on. And then the hard truth. I'm going to read this one out for you. So, being in control of your intake is really important when it comes to getting the best results. You know that. The unfortunate fact of the matter is you're definitely going to struggle to get long-term, sustainable weight loss results if you're going out too much. Frequency of nights out is a bit of an issue when it comes to getting great results when it comes to fat loss. Because obviously we don't know what's going into certain foods. We tend to overindulge. I've given you some tips, right? But it doesn't always mean that you will stick to them, right? Sometimes we fall off. We're human, right? When we go out, we slightly overindulge. Even if we've gone out with a really solid game plan, it can happen. We know that what we're supposed to be doing, but there are things that come up which are out of our control. We don't know specifically what's going into certain foods, like the oils, the butters, and all that kind of stuff that's added to like fine dining and stuff like that. So we can easily go over our calories without knowing it's happening. It means that we're not fully in control of our calories, and therefore we're playing a bit more of a guessing game in order to get results. So when I say like it's fine to go out and stuff like that, you know that if you're going out so frequently and there are too many slip-ups, if you're going out every week and you're managing to stick to your calories every single week without fail and you're strict as hell with it, cool. But if you're going out and things are slipping up a bit too frequently, you can't expect to come into the check-ins with the results that you want, right? You know that, surely. We're all adults here, right? We know we can't cheat the system. It's a case of owning up and being like, this is an issue. If I want this weight loss and I want to lose the belly and I want to get in great shape and I want to feel fit and healthy, then the chances are I can't be going out getting hammered every single weekend. Simple stuff, very simple stuff, but it has to be said, right? It has to be said. So wrapping things up, I hope this made your life a little bit easier and you got some good tips from it. Navigating your nights out are a lot more difficult than staying in because we're in control completely. But hopefully this gives you some good information on how to navigate your social events, how to navigate Christmas, New Year, your birthdays, weddings, holidays, and stuff like that, so that you don't massively go backwards. And this doesn't have to be just while you're on plan. These are strategies that you can use for the rest of your life, remember. So go back, read this book, ask me any questions that you've got on it. I really hope this webinar helped. And like I said, I'm here to answer any questions that you've got on this. All right. I'll speak to you all soon, and have some great social events. Enjoy it and go and practice these tips.